Hi, my name is Audrey. I'm 18 years old. I'm the F1 in Schools UK National Champion team, and I'm also the award winner of the Girls on Track Award. F1 in Schools is a global STEM challenge where people go from joining from ages 9 to 19. You get teams of 3 to 6 people together, and then you compete to create your F1 1/20th scale miniature cars. The mission of F1 in Schools is to definitely show how STEM can be fun. What F1 in Schools really gets you to actually understand is how a team works, how you can apply maths and physics and all the theory you get in your classroom actually into real life. Winning the national title was actually a surreal experience. I couldn't believe it. I shouted, you can see the video, and I literally hear the scream, "Ah!" when I won. It was insane. I'm really looking forward to see how a team actually works. The reaction times of the drivers is insane, but the reaction time of the team of making the decisions, I feel like that's what I'm really excited to look for, how a team communicates within the paddock. How do you separate teamwork with competitiveness against your own teammates?
We get on very well, you see, so it's okay. It's always hard, because fundamentally you've got to remember that although we work as a team, as drivers, we're still individuals as well. So you still want to get the best for yourself. Although you run as a sole driver, if you like, you're part of a bigger team and a bigger commercial platform. So you learn to sort of have to bounce ideas off people, and each one of us will have our own strengths. But fundamentally, we all still want to win as well. So there's that crossover between both sides.
Definitely, everything that Tom said, I agree with, and also teamwork. We all represent most of the same partners, like say Bristol Street Motors, Macklin Motors, but on track it is every man for themselves. But you're always a little bit more respectful with your teammates. That's for sure. One rule: you don't really want to take each other out within your own team. Try and focus on having ding-dongs with other people before you do that in team.
What's been your biggest learning curve you've learned through being in the motorsport sector?
I'm very lucky in a sense whereby I started within motorsport at an incredibly young age. I started my motorsport journey, if you were to call it that, when I was 5 years old. So I've grown up around cars and competitiveness. You learn that I want to beat Ronan, but at the same time, I'm not going to do anything to jeopardise both of us. You know what I mean? And I think that's the idea, is that we all do it for ourselves, but you learn from a very young age that respect and driving with respect is a massive area of it. And that doesn't matter if it's on the circuit, but it also is exactly the same in the garage. How you interact with people, how you talk to people, and how you get the best out of people. You learn that from a very young age, and I don't think there's really anything that you can compare that to any other sport. It's not like football, it's not like rugby, it's not like golf. It's a completely different discipline because you have to be respectful, but also you learn hard work and dedication, so it's quite a cool upbringing.
Definitely, yeah, ditto to that. I think it matures you very quickly. Obviously the same sort of journey as Tom, starting from a really young age. I've dealt with all the sponsorship and commercial side of my own racing for a very long time, so that matures you. But also when you're at a race weekend, you're working with a team. It's not just you, there's a whole group of guys and girls that make this happen, and you're the one that has to deliver the result, but you also win and lose together. You can't lose sight of that and how many hard-working people you have behind you.
How do you overcome a bad weekend?
How do we
overcome a bad weekend?
Again, I think again, I think it's something that you learn with over the years with experience for a lot of the time. Over the years, I've done quite a lot of work with a sports psychologist, and you learn to manage the peaks and troughs, because in any industry, be it motorsport, be it in an engineering sector, be it at school, you'll have great days and you have bad days. But it's just managing the peaks and troughs, because you actually realise that if you've had a bad day, being down and miserable about it won't actually make it any better. And I think the best example of that for me is Lewis Hamilton. If you look at how he came back after that Abu Dhabi race, when he was able to take a minute for himself, compose himself, and actually come back in a better frame of mind off the back of it, that's really inspiring. And I think that's something that we all learn with experience, actually, that a bad weekend is just a bad weekend. It doesn't mean it's a bad year, it doesn't mean it's a bad season, it just means you've got one bad weekend. So you learn to control the peaks, control the troughs, but always look to come back stronger off the back of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to remember that as touring car drivers, we're in a very, very lucky position to be doing what we do. and there's a lot of people that would dream of being here and might not ever get here. So we're very fortunate in that aspect. You know, one bad weekend out of 10 weekends, really in the grand scheme of things, isn't the end of the world. It always, for me, I would say the Monday after a race weekend, even if it's been good, you feel like you're on a bit of a come down because you're in this little bubble and you almost live on 2-week cycles where you finish one weekend and then you start prepping for the next one. So you have a little come down on the Monday, even if it's been positive. So yeah, you just have to not lose sight of where you're at and what you're doing because, like I said, we're very, very lucky.
Has any of your F1 in Schools experiences been translated into now your team?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to communication, motivation, I was the team manager for the team back then. I also used to seek the funding and sponsorship as well. So even back then, when I was probably 13, 14, I was learning key skills, how to communicate, how to reach out to complete what were strangers. And you know, you're a kid essentially. So yeah, all the way back then, it definitely did help to where I am now.
When I joined F1 in Schools, I was like, let's give it a shot. I've always wanted to be an engineer, but I was like, what is engineering? I just like maths, physics, that's it. And I was like, what role of engineering do I want to go into? And when I saw motorsport, I saw cars. It is a sport, it is the adrenaline. You get to see your real life creations going to the track, going at insane speeds. When I saw the competition, I was like, this is a 1/20 scale. Imagine real life world when you're seeing your car fly down, you've got the adrenaline, you've got the race drivers, you've got so many things that are abstract, the weather you cannot predict. And you actually feel like you yourself are immersed into the engineering world and into motorsport. And for example, in my case, I didn't know what motorsport was until I did F1 in Schools, and now I find my dream and my passion. What is your team role here at EXCELR8?
So here I'm on number 2 on the Mini, which means fueling, making sure the car is clean, just sitting on number 1 with pit stops and making sure everything's just kind of ready and easier for the number 1 to get on with setup changes and things like that.
What is your career background?
So I started off just as store supervisor, and then kind of thought I changed my career path completely. I did a degree in music and then came to cars. I thought a bit different,
Yes.
but I just knew what I wanted to do and wanted to go for it.
That's so good.
Yeah, my career started with Formula 1, definitely. That was what got me into, yeah, cars are cool and they go around really fast. There's loads of the little things, the engineering side of things, the tyre side of things. And through there, it just grew with meeting the right people and getting some free work and lots of experience.
Where do you see your career going off in the future?
Hopefully, World Endurance Championships. So it's kind of more into the longer racing, 24 hours, 12 hours, that kind of thing. Maybe the Middle East for some like 24-hour series. That'd be really cool.
The next steps in my career is going to the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, where I'm going to study mechanical engineering to then do an integrated master's, hopefully, in automotive engineering. I want to also do a work placement, hopefully get back into the UK in 2 years' time, get into an F1 team. Definitely sign up for F1 in Schools. It's the best decision I've ever made. I find my passion, and it is everything you're going to ask for a competition. It's got the adrenaline, it's got the teamwork, you get life skills. It's not only about the racetrack and the competition in itself, you get also a group of teammates that becomes your family, honestly. I've met one of my friends through F1 in Schools, and I mean, in 10 years' time, hopefully we'll be working together at the F1 track, and you'll be able to say, oh yeah, I met you at F1 in Schools. This weekend, I've learned that it's really crucial that you need to get hands-on experience if you want to get into a team, and I find that amazing, and I'm going to work towards it so I can get some experience to get into my dream job. Thank you so much to Bristol Street Motors with EXCELR8 for this amazing weekend. It has been phenomenal.